Hi and welcome to another video. So I turned down not one, not two, but 5 Hermes bags direct from store. What was I thinking? Did it ruin my relationship? Did it mean I never was offered another bag? Was it the biggest mistake I ever made? Keep watching and find out. Let's get going. Which bags did I turn down? Why did I turn them down? And what were the consequences of me turning them down? The first bag that I turned down direct from store from Hermes was actually an Evelyn. And it was my very first conversation in London with who became my sales associate. And it was just my very general chat of asking if I was ever lucky enough to be offered a bag, how does the process work? Am I able to put my name down? If he could just explain the process to me, that would be amazing. And he asked me what my dream bag would be, and I said Kelly 28 Togo leather in Green tan with palladium hardware. I was absolutely sure that was my absolute dream. And no, he didn't offer me that dream bag that day. He said, give me a moment. And he came out and he said, I thought I would show you the colour tan, seeing as you haven't seen it in the flesh, because I said to him, I think that's the colour I want, but I haven't seen it anywhere in the flesh. And he brought out an Evelyn. So it was an Evelyn 29. So it was in a tan and it was in Epsom leather. Now, it's the first and last time I've ever seen the Evelyn in Epsom leather. And not only did he show me the bag, but he said, I'm offering it to you today. And immediately my thought was, I have to buy this bag. I have to buy this bag. Otherwise my Hermes journey will begin and end all in one all in one moment. There's no way. Why would he even consider making me, a client of his, if the first thing he offers me I just turn down? However, I tried the bag on and the colour I knew was perfect, but the style, I'm still not sure about the Evelyn. I sort of like it. It's very casual, but certainly not in Epsom. For me, the Evelyn needs to be in Clemence leather. It needs to be slouchy and it's a very casual bag. And I think it felt really stiff. It didn't multi your body at all as a crossbody in Epsom. And it felt very stiff and actually quite scratchy to get in and out of. And it just wasn't for me. And something inside me told me to stay true to myself and only buy what I really want. And if the consequences are that I'll never get offered a bag, so be it. So I very politely and kindly turned it down. Now my profile prior to that, again, I can do a whole other video on this, but my profile prior to this was literally, I bought, I think it was a pair of earrings in Manchester, and then I went in to buy a belt that day. So I was buying a belt as I was having this conversation, and I ended up just saying, I think I'll just take the belt for now and I will hold out for my absolute dream, because I am not in the position to be able to buy hundreds of bags. And I was very honest with him and said, I would need to save up. I work very hard and I know how hard I have to work to afford anything of that expense. So I was very honest and said, I will wait, and hopefully at some point, my dream might come true. And 3 or 4 weeks later, I got her. So this is the absolute dream. And yeah, my sales associate came through immediately. So yeah, I thought, I can't believe that I've turned down a bag, and within a few weeks I've been offered my absolute dream quota bag. So that's number one. The second bag that I've turned down direct from store. Now fast forward from my Kelly, and I also bought another couple of bags in between for my sales associate. So we're talking maybe a couple of years, or maybe 18 months or something like that, fast forward. And my sales associate was leaving, and I was so sad because, yeah, I got on with him so well. And it's very difficult for me. I don't live near London. I can't just pop in and keep the relationship going in that respect. I get to London twice a year, if that. sometimes only once a year. So yes, it's very difficult to maintain relationships by just popping in. So when I heard he was leaving, I was a little bit, oh, that's probably the end of my relationship with Hermes. And he passed me over to my new sales associate. And so I had a couple of emails backwards and forwards. Other than that, I really didn't know the new sales associate at all. I'd never met him in person. And yeah, I'd already done my wish list, which was Birkin 30 in a tube. And I also said I would possibly consider a red, but it would have to be a true red, like a Rouge Cassac. And for red, it would have to be with the gold hardware. And yeah, I thought I'm probably not going to get offered anything because, as I say, I got on really well with my previous sales associate. And when they leave, you just think, I'm going to have to build a relationship again, and it might not be the same relationship, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, fast forward a couple of weeks, that's all. And I got the call that a red Birkin 30 was available. And the colour and the leather I'd never heard of before. So I got the email and it said, there's a Birkin 30 in a colour called geranium in Novillo leather available. It's yours if you want it. So I'm Googling straight away, oh my goodness, what's this colour? Because I'm very specific on the colours that I like and don't like. And I didn't want anything other than a true red. I don't particularly like the orangey reds. And I don't particularly like the pinky reds or the purpley undertones. I just like a true red. So when I looked, it looked very orangey red, but not even a true orange. I wouldn't mind a true orange, but that in between colour. And the leather I was just not sure about, and also it was with palladium hardware. And again, I thought, if I don't take this bag, especially it's my new sales associate, he's come through within a couple of weeks, and if I don't take this bag, that's it. And so I emailed and said, yes, I'll take the bag. And immediately I had a pang of, I'm doing the wrong thing. It's not what I want. I really wanted taupe. I don't really want red. And I definitely don't want that red. And so I emailed him back and I said, I'm really sorry. I've thought it through and I've decided I'm going to leave it and I'm going to wait for my dream bag, which is the Birkin 30 in a tube. And he was very, very gracious and very nice, but I thought, that's it. I haven't even met this man. He's offered me this wonderful bag and I've turned it down, so that's the end of it. And yeah. And if you've seen my other video, which is my luxury regrets video, which I'll link up here, in that I alluded to the fact that I bought a Louis Vuitton Capucines in the colour Gallet, which is, it's not the same as a taupe, but it's a beautiful warm neutral. And I think I was scratching the itch of the taupe bag because I thought I would never receive the taupe bag. I'd turned down the red bag. There was no way I'd be able to get a taupe. It's impossible to get anyway. And the fact that I turned down another bag. So I went straight out, pretty much went straight out and bought the Louis Vuitton Capucines bag. And 3 weeks later, he came through with this, which is my absolute dream. So this is a taupe with the gold hardware and it has the contrast stitching. And this is the Birkin 30 in Togo leather. And I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it that I hadn't met this sales associate. He'd come through with the red bag. I turned it down. In fact, I messed him around because I said yes and then I said no. And he still came through with that. So yeah, I was extremely, extremely lucky. So yeah, that's number 2. Okay, number 3 is a bit of a funny story. So I happened to be in London with the family. We were on a trip and I needed to go in and put my next wish list in because they expire after a certain amount of time and you have to keep refreshing them. So I called in while we happened to be in London and it was extremely busy and we had to wait quite some time, which is absolutely fine. Now, my eldest daughter was quite happy to wait with me. She loved being in Hermes and seeing how it all worked. And my youngest daughter was, I think, a little bit fed up of waiting, and I don't blame her really. So my youngest daughter and my husband went off and did their own thing for a little while and then came back. And as they came back, I'd already made my wish list, which was my Constance. um, 24 in black with gold or silver or gold or palladium hardware. I really wanted gold. So that was a wish that I'd made. And obviously I wasn't buying anything that day. I was just going in to make my wish. Back to meet us just as we were finishing up. So I introduced them to my sales associate because they'd never met before. And yeah, my as we were leaving, my youngest daughter, bless her, said, "Are you not buying a bag today, Mum? Is there no bag today?" And so I was like, "Oh, God, no, it doesn't quite work like that in Hermes. You don't just, because I think the only time she'd heard me ever being in Hermes, I seemed to come back with a with a bag in my hand. So I just felt a little bit embarrassed, and my sales associate thought it was hilarious. And yeah, as we were walking out, he then whispered to me, "I do have a couple of Birkin 35, so if you want to come back in, and I can offer you one today." And so bless her, my daughter really came through. She really did. So I don't know if she embarrassed him into asking me. I don't know, but it seemed to work. Anyway, because I've just done my wish and because I don't have bottomless pit of money, I again very politely and kindly declined his offer because I really didn't want a Birkin 35 at that time. So that was it. It was thank you so much. So I never actually got to find out. He said he had 2 or 3 colours for me to choose from, but I never even got to find out what they were because I didn't want to waste his time by looking at them and then saying no, because I knew I was saving up for the Constance for my next wish. So yeah, so that was number 3. Okay, so the 4th bag that I've turned down from direct from store from Hermes is a Constance. So I've just mentioned that at this point in time, I had made my wish for my next bag, quota bag, which was a Constance 24. And I would have been happy with either palladium or gold hardware, but I really wanted gold. I just did. And within, again, a few weeks of me making the wish, I got the call that one was available. However, it had lizard hardware, and I just wasn't sure about exotics. As I mentioned, I bought the python handle capucines from Louis Vuitton in a little bit of an impulse, and I'm not sure about exotics, and I'm not sure I would buy one again. I'm not, never say never, but I'm not sure. So when he offered this one, again, I wasn't sure about it being exotic. I wasn't sure how I would style it. I just wasn't 100%. Plus, the price of it would have been crazy. I didn't even ask. So I turned it down. And again, I thought, I've now turned 3 bags down from the same sales associate in the space of about a year or something. And it was, I'm pushing my luck. I really am. But I had to be true to myself, just buy what you love. And within a couple of weeks, this baby became available, which was my absolute #1 choice with the gold hardware. And I don't regret this at all. I absolutely love it. The hardware does scratch a little bit, but I don't think it's as delicate as the lizard would be in any case. And yeah, I'm just happier with this choice. So yeah, so that's number 4. And the 5th bag that I've turned down direct from store. If any of these are a regret, it may be this one, although I'm a little bit in 2 minds about it, so it's probably a good thing that I turned it down. So I went into store to make again, fast forward a little bit of time, and I went into store to make my next wish. And by this point, I really wanted a Birkin 25, and I had decided that I did actually want red, but I was still glad that I'd turned down the geranium one. I wasn't sure about that colour at all. I said I would be happy to have the true red, something like a rouge Casac, or a darker red. Now, I didn't know a lot of the colours, to be fair, but so I just left it with him that something dark, like a wine colour, in fact, this sort of colour, a burgundy colour, anything like that I would be happy with, but I didn't want the pinky reds or the orangey reds, I didn't want anything too bright. And as I was making the wish, he disappeared and he came back. And I'll try and find a photo because I couldn't take a photo at the time, and I haven't seen one before then or since. And I have had a quick look online before filming, and I can't even find a photo of one. So I will do my best to find something. But I believe it was called a duo bag, and it was where, if you can imagine the Birkin, half and half is one colour compared to another. And it was in the Cellier version, and it was absolutely beautiful. However, the colours it came in, I remember one of the colours was definitely biscuit, because for some reason that because it's biscuit, it sticks in my mind. I can't remember what the other colour was, but it was a darker colour. So it was very neutral, very warm neutral, both colours. They were not that massively different to each other. And overall, it was very similar in some respects to my Birkin 30 in a tube. So because it was the same size 30, because it was a very warm neutral, I just felt it was too similar. But I knew it was a really, really special bag, that the duo tones, as I say, I've never seen one since. And I've certainly never seen one in the flesh since. And I don't think I've even seen any online anywhere, on YouTube or anything. So I know it's very special. And part of me was, maybe I shouldn't have turned that down. But colour-wise, it wasn't, it was too near to what I already had. So if it had been pretty much any other colours, I probably would have gone for it. So it's a little bit of a regret, but it's sort of not. So I carried on making my wish, and lo and behold, not long later, this baby arrived. So this was exactly what I was asking for. So it's coming up slightly lighter on screen than it is in real life, but this is Rouge Granat. So this is Birkin 25 in Turgo with gold hardware. And this is Rouge Granat. So I am so glad, right back at the beginning, when I didn't take the geranium in the Birkin 30, because I truly believe if I'd have taken that bag, I wouldn't have been offered the Atoute bag a few weeks later. It wouldn't have happened, because I would have had a quota bag, and I would have had to wait. And whether I'd have been offered an Atoute further down the line, who knows? And I certainly wouldn't have put another wish for another red bag, because I would have had the geranium one. And I'm so glad that I waited and got this one, because this is just beautiful colour. So it's still quite a neutral colour for me. It's not too bright. It goes with everything. I absolutely adore it. So yeah, all in all, my choices, I think, have been the right ones. And has it changed my relationship with Hermes? Not at all. Not at all. In every single case, I have been offered something that's been my absolute number one wish list at that time, very soon after. So it's the first thing, it definitely hasn't made any difference to being offered a bag. I think the only thing that will change my relationship with Hermes is your actual relationship with your SA. I think that is the key, because my second SA has sadly left as well now, and I'm so sad about that, because he was amazing as well. So my first two SAs were just incredible, and I have now been allocated to a new SA, but I really don't know her that well. And because I don't live near to London, I'm finding it very hard to pop in and get that relationship going. So, which is what happened last time, and it wasn't an issue. But I think, time will tell whether, yeah, because I haven't been offered anything in the last 6 or 8 months, which is, in the journey that I've had, is actually quite unusual. And it's absolutely fine. I have no issue whatsoever, but I just feel that the relationship has changed. So I'm hoping not, but I think if anything, the thing that changes your relationship, and whether you're offered a bag or not, is your relationship with your SA. It's nothing to do with the bags you've bought, what you've spent, the bags you've turned down. I don't think it makes any difference. It may be different in different countries, in different stores. I can only tell you my experience based on, what's happened with me in the last few years. My main advice is just be yourself, be true to yourself, buy what you want. Don't buy something you don't want just to get a profile. It's crazy to do that. So yeah, So that's my little story time. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on another one.